Hi, this is James Shug with Westpac London's end of day report for Friday, March the 8th. We had a very strong jobs report out of the US today. A few caveats related to that, which I'll run through in a minute, but it didn't really help markets that much. Although there was some encouragement in terms of the economic outlook for the US, the number was so upbeat that it also fed into the view that maybe the Federal Reserve will be less inclined to continue with its accommodative policy stance for as long as might have previously been the case. So initial gains on equity markets were eroded as the concern about the policy implications came to the fore. Other developments today, we had very strong Canadian jobs growth, 51,000 gain in February, steady unemployment at 7%. The Canadian housing starts are up 14% in February, the first rise in 6 months there. And we had flat German industrial production in January. 4 monthly declines, a slight rise in DEC, and then the January figures are now flat. So basically, production seems to have levelled off at a weaker level. It's down 1.3% over the year. So on to the jobs numbers in the US. We had a 236,000 increase in the payroll measure of employment in February. That's double the 119,000 gain we saw in January. A bit behind the 247,000 increase back in November last year. We warned that we think there's a flaw in the seasonal adjustment of these and other US data. That is that you tend to get a lot of strength in the numbers at the start of the year, or the turn of the year, and then they weaken through the middle of the year. We certainly saw that in 2010, 2011 and 2012. So maybe the numbers are overstating the strength of the US economy and of the labour market. But as they stand, they're pretty good. And we saw a 0.2% increase in hourly earnings, a 0.5% rise in hours worked, so that'll support household income in February. Every sector, construction, factories, services, right across the board, except for government jobs, posted gains. The only other caveat, I suppose, is that although the unemployment rate fell to 7.7%, which is a new post-recession low, the separate household survey that determines the unemployment rate showed a softer 170,000 increase in employment, and that followed two fairly soft gains and in fact a decline in October. So you got October down, 2 weak ones in November down, 2 weak ones in December and January, and then the 170,000 in February. So basically you've got 3-month average jobs growth on the household survey measure up to 72,000. And that's down from 371,000 3-month average in the previous 3-month period. That compares to the payrolls survey, where we had a 3-month gain of 191,000 in December, January, February, up from 181,000 in the previous 3 months. So payrolls is telling you that jobs growth kind of is accelerating. The household survey is telling you that jobs growth has actually slowed. And as I say, we have some concerns about the validity of the seasonal adjustment process they use there. Anyway, that being all said, markets thought it was a strong number and they were a bit concerned about the implications for Fed policy. That's why gains have been a bit muted, but still all in the green. We've got just ahead of the close in London, the FTSE up 0.5%, French market up 1%, the Germans up just under 0.5%, Spain's up 2.7%, and Italy up 1.4%. And the Dow at the moment, and this is just after 4 o'clock in London, it's up 0.2%, 14,358 is the level of the Dow. On the commodity markets, copper prices are down 1/3 of 1%, oil's down 0.1% at $91.46 a barrel, and gold at $1,579 an ounce is up 0.25%. Commodity gains been muted too. Strong jobs number, but maybe less liquidity flowing around if the Fed decides to pull back on its, or ease back on its accommodative policy stance. The Aussie dollar took a tumble on the jobs numbers too. It fell from around 1.027 to 1.023 against the US dollar. That's where it stands at the moment. That's about it for today, and indeed this week. I'll be back with more next week, although I'll be away on Well, Wednesday and Thursday, travelling in Europe, but I'll do reports as much as I can. Okay, speak to you soon.